So it's just 2 minutes to the time. I'll hop on here. Hello and good evening. Good evening. Um, I'm starting the session while I wait for attendees to come along and join me tonight. I'm looking forward to this session on moving from goals to growth, how to make progress in 2020. Yay! We're in the second week of 2020. It's all exciting stuff. My name is Patience Ogumbono. I'm a transformational coach, aligned business strategist, DISC behavioral trainer, and inspirational speaker. I'm also an author. I'll tell you more about myself. I'll explain those titles a bit more. But for now, I just want to wait for attendees to turn up. It's been a very windy day in the UK. I live in the UK, in Kent to be precise, the Garden of England. And it is a fantastic place to live, except of course when it's a blowy day like today. That is why I've got my nifty earphones on, waiting for attendees to arrive for the session, and just waiting to start the full webinar itself. Yes, like I said, it's a nice day, but it's very windy. So unfortunately, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of there's a lot of noise going on in the background. Hi, Achenyo, thank you for joining me tonight. It's nice to have you. We shall wait a few minutes for more attendees to join. Tell me exactly in the comments, in the chats, where you're joining from. This evening, and how 2020, I'm sure 2020 is treating you nicely. We are in the second week. Can you believe that, of 2020 already? It is interesting how time flies and things take off. So we'll wait for a few minutes, at least 5 minutes. Oh yeah, from Essex. Yeah, nice to have you. So we'll wait for a few minutes for other attendees to join, and then we'll crack on straight away with this session for goals, from goals to growth, how to make progress in 2020. So I'm going to start off when it's at 7:05, because I want to make great valuable use of your time. But I also recognize that, I'm going to run the webinar for roughly about an hour session. So it'd be nice spending time together. We'll take some Q&A if you have any questions that you want to ask at the end of the session, and we will be able to, I'll answer them. You also have the opportunity to drop me a message. If you would like to find out more, you can drop me a message, and I'll straight away put my email in here. So it's done, and people who want to copy it can copy it at the end of the session to be able to use that to contact me and to find out more about, the session tonight, and perhaps how they can get further information. And there's also a gift for attendees who stay till the end of the webinar. So I'm just gonna be able to provide that because I have your email, and I'll be able to know that you stay till the end of the webinar as well. So it's been a very progressive year for me, and it's been a year where I have been able to make, consolidate some of the growth that has started in 2019. One of the key things about progression is the compounding effect that you get from actually the things that happened in previous years. So if you're doing it properly, you'll be able to get the compounding effect to take place. So we're waiting for another 2 minutes, and then we're going to crack on with the webinar itself. For those that are here already, thank you for your patience. Thank you for waiting. We just want to give other attendees the opportunity to be able to turn up for another 2 minutes, and then we'll be able to crack on. So how is the weather where you are? How is the weather where you are today? I know that there are parts of the world today where there are challenges with the weather. And so, yes, thanks for joining, Ruth. You're welcome. Yeah, so it's wet and windy as well. Yes, it seems that the whole of the UK is wet and windy. So, um, please, by all means, introduce yourself as you join in by telling us where you're from. Put it in the chats so we know where you're coming from. Um, I think that we have done very well in being able to hang on for attendees. So what I'm going to do is to begin by sharing the screen so that we will get cracking on with the webinar itself. So let's see if I can get, hi Ruth, thanks for joining from London. It's great to have you here. I'm sure the weather is the same where you are. So let's crack on with this and see how we get on. As you can see, it's my screen. And yes, you are in the right webinar. My name is Patience Ogumbono, and you are here for the webinar titled, or what my mentor would like to call a masterclass, because I think that technically that should be the right word for it, really. So it's a masterclass, and it's masterclass from goals to growth. Is being able to move from goals to growth. There is so much talk about goal setting, so much so that some people are fed up of it. But we want to be able to channel all the energy from goals and move into growth. That is what this webinar today is about. So usually, achieving the goals is the aim. We want to be able to achieve our goals by the end of the year, or usually is useful to set 90-day goals. I will give a better introduction of myself, but I just wanted to talk about what we will be covering today. So basically, we're going to be covering how to make progress in 2020. We're going to find out what are the key things that you need to be able to make progress. And we're going to be looking at how you can move from your comfort zone into your growth zone. Very essential element of making progress. We're going to be looking at staying persistent, resilient, and focused. And the tools and systems that you can use to beat procrastination and achieve your goals and make progress. And we're going to also be looking at goal achievement. And we're going to be looking at the end of the webinar, if you stay till the end, I will send you a goal achievement action plan sheet, which is my gift to you. And if you want to follow up later with speaking to me about what you've written there, that would be great as well. But as part of this, I'm going to be, with your permission, talking to you about my system. This training that I'm providing comes from part of the system that I created as part of my coaching program. So I'll be telling you more about the package itself and how that looks. So I believe that that will be beneficial and that will be useful for you as we crack on. So it's about your goals tonight, and we're going to roughly an hour, hopefully, using your time wisely tonight. So let's crack on. First and foremost, why should you listen to me? Let's talk about me. Let me introduce myself. I'm Patience Ogumbono. I started off before arrival to say that I'm first and foremost a transformational coach. And I'm going to talk about my other titles and what that means. But I wasn't always a transformational coach. This is not who I was in a previous life. I was a chartered accountant and a chartered internal auditor. So how did I make a kind of, not what we call about turn and complete transformation is the word, to get to where I am? I didn't grow up to be a very confident person. In fact, I lacked a lot of confidence, massively. So what I'm doing tonight is great growth. Being able to stand and speak on stage is great growth. Being able to put myself in front of a camera is great growth. I didn't even like to take pictures because I had very low self-esteem. And you can imagine how that would affect progression in life. However, I managed to do my qualifications, do all the things that I needed. But therein lay the issue where I lacked a lot of self-belief and through the career, I did struggle because it didn't kind of really fit in with who I felt that I was. And 15 years ago, I decided to start going on a personal development journey. That personal development journey meant that I took baby steps in investing in myself, like most people. You buy books, you get introduced to webinars, and you watch them. My life totally changed about 5 years ago. It's going to be 6 this year, when my mom died. And I kind of shut down completely. And I thought, what's the point of leaving? I'm just going to find stability in work. But I wasn't comfortable because, as those of you that know, we all have values, and my value is freedom rather than stability. So if you're here and you're thinking entrepreneurship is for you, you're probably like me, where freedom to create your own thing. And I remember when I first came to the UK, I wanted to do that. I didn't have advice. I didn't have support. I was too afraid to invest in myself. And like I said, I lacked confidence, I lacked know-how. And there it was. There was no help. So I chickened out and I went straight to work and earning money. And that happened and carried on for many, many years. So after mom died, I wanted to check out. But Providence meant that I was able to meet, get in, somebody contacted me from the John Maxwell team. The story she told me was about being a cancer survivor who now understood how to use their daily life to make a difference, but to also know that they are living on borrowed time, or they are making use of their time to live purposefully. That was the first wake-up call. I still then used that as an opportunity to sign up with the John Maxwell team. But like most people, you sign up for something, you have good intentions, you're really excited. And that was all I did. I stopped there. I felt a bit overwhelmed. But then I managed to meet John Maxwell himself when I went to Antwerp, because I still had that burning desire to be able to do something with my life. And so I went to Antwerp, met him, and three things stood out for me. One was him saying, you've got to live your life intentionally. You've got to hold the image you have of yourself. And at that time, I had an image where I felt that this was my calling and this was my purpose. And then the final word was to jump and grow my wings on the way down. So I came back and had another episode where I went blind, basically, in my left eye. So that woke me up to a different reality. But I was blessed to miraculously have a healing that meant that I didn't waste one more day once I received my sight. And the rest is history. I'm here today, and I will tell you more as we go on. One of the things I would love to share with you on this webinar is this quote exactly, which is important. Excellence is the gradual result of always striving to do better. So progress is about working towards that excellent result that you want. It is not about perfection. So, and it is about making movement, those baby steps that you take. And the word striving is very important. And to do better, to do better. Many people, there is a thing, as we all know, that they have predicted that on the 17th of January is usually when people abandon their New Year resolutions. They must have some algorithm like you have on social media, but that is what the prediction is. But it doesn't have to be your reality. You can feel overwhelmed. You can feel that maybe you don't stand a chance, but that's why you're here today, and that's why I'm here today, to be able to help you to achieve that. So I can't see your comments. I can't see who's arrived. So if you're arriving, welcome. So my mission today and always, and my passion, is to enable and empower transformation of lives and businesses through awareness and action. So the enablement is through providing strategies and know-how. The empowerment is helping you work on your mindset and your personality and who you are, finding your strengths and your potential. That way, the awareness that you get helps you to overcome things in your life that are holding you back, And as a result, you are able to take effective action to achieve your goals. That is my mission. And that is what I do. I work with people, small business owners, CEOs of companies who develop themselves and who want to build either coaching consultancy or small businesses that will provide services and products for people. So I promised that I'll talk about titles. Like I said, the system of progression, which I'm going to talk about, is part of my program. So I've created a coaching program, which I'll talk to you about today, which I believe is a catalyst and a tool for those who want to make great progression this year in 2020. But it's an element of it, which is, it's got 7 keys in it. And the element I want to talk to you about is under the 3rd key, which is the intention key. I believe that you can have intentions, which is your goals. Intentionality is the actions that you take to achieve those goals. So I've already mentioned that I'm a John Maxwell team member, but I'm an executive director with the John Maxwell team, which means I have the highest level of access to resources, materials, and mentors to be able to provide value to anybody that works with me or any organization that works with me. I can provide all the materials that John Maxwell has to offer to be able to deliver, including my own personal program, which means I provide high service. I have my program and my signature workshop called Build Your Dream, which is for aspiring entrepreneurs who basically want to spend a day with me and knock out their ideas into fruition and go out of there and begin to start working on the idea. So it's basically a day spent condensed to be able to work on number 1 key, which is the idea really, and to encourage you to actually pursue that dream. Just like me, where I had an epiphany that if I got blind, I would reduce capacity, and I quickly made a difference to my life. I'm also an author. So my book is Aspiration to Transformation, and it's about moving to your empowerment zone. It's basically a tool that you can use to create an action plan for yourself if you want to transition from a 9-to-5 job into your entrepreneurial dream. It helps you to transform yourself and empower yourself. It's got a course attached to it. I'm a DISC certified trainer, which means I provide you with extra tools that you can look inwards. We do the DISC profiling as part of session 2 or as part of key 2 of my program. And we use that to devise a personal development and a personal action plan to help you maximize your strength and minimize the weaknesses in life. And then I help you with business strategy as well. So as an aligned business strategist, I believe that alignment is key, where you can use your purpose and your potential. So I offer transformational coaching, business strategy, business training, and consulting. And I do some inspirational speaking. I've spoken in Las Vegas. I've spoken in Orlando, West Palm Beach, where Donald Trump lives. I've been to his house as part of the tour there. That was part of the highlight. I've been to Costa Rica, and I've spoken in Nigeria in conferences. My desire is to speak all across the world as much as I can, and I'm looking forward to it. I shall be speaking in the UK in the next 3 weeks in Hertfordshire somewhere, empowering women. So I love that as well. It's part of what I do. So goals. Now, I understand that for many people, this would be a topic they don't want to hear. I think it's about reframing. And that is the starting point of today's value that I want to add to you, is that sometimes the word goals really hits a nerve with some people, because at work, they tell you haven't achieved your goals, so they tell you performance goals, they tell you performance objectives. Either way, sometimes it hits the bird nerve and you don't like the word. So if you don't like the word, you can reframe it. It's your decision, it's your life. You can call it intentions, you can call it resolutions, you can call it wishes, dreams and aspirations, or vision. Which one resonates with you? Now, I'm not going to be covering SMART today, you'll be glad to know. But of course, if you're looking at your intentions and resolutions, whatever you call it, it's nice to have the SMART acronym. I have devised a different acronym as part of my program, which I call AIMS, that makes it move from goal setting, which SMART is useful for, to goal achieving. So whatever you call it, make sure that it resonates with you. It ignites a passion to take action. That is why you set goals. That is why you have plans. But let's dive deeper into why you set goals. Why do people set goals? Why is it necessary? I've given 3 key reasons, which I'm going to talk about here. And I think it's important when you notice that Simon Sinek, who created the phrase, find your why, did that because where you find your why, it drives you. So you have to have a why for doing something. You're a human being, so there has to be a why so that you are motivated, so that you have passion. The first one I want to leave with you is that having a goal allows you to direct your life. If you're waking up every day without a goal, without a plan to execute, guess what? There is no neutrality. You are still following a goal. It's just not your own. You're going to go to work and follow a business person's goal who will set up the business, or you're going to follow the goals of the government and whatever they have without finding your space and your place in it. Goals, visions, aspirations, dreams allow you to project your life and direct your life towards that projection. That is why you set goals. If you have that as a strong why in your mind, you will sit down and think about it. You know, I always have this exercise where before I enter into the next year, it's like significant for me to decide what that year is going to look like. That is why I set goals, because for me, then I take control, then I have a plan, then I have a purpose to wake up every day and know that I'm working towards something. So I believe that for you as well, that is important. Unfortunately, I can't see. It would have been nice to interact. I cannot see the tools that I need to be able to do the chat. So my tech skills at the moment. So the next is growth. Like I mentioned, we will be talking a lot about the growth zone. The reason why you set goals is because you want to grow. Whatever is not growing is not standing still. It's actually depleting. It's actually what they call dying. So you're either growing, we're all heading somewhere, but generally growth is the reason why you set goals. And as you can see, there is a movement from the comfort zone where you make yourself very uncomfortable and stay in the fear zone. So some people are in the fear zone. I had fears many, many years ago. I think about what my life would have been if I had taken that push to invest in my entrepreneurial dream. I stayed in the fear zone for many, many, many years and made excuses, believed my own excuses. And I didn't start setting the right goals for myself and having a plan of action until much later. But then an effective plan of action emerged as soon as I found my why and I found my purpose and what I was meant to do. The whole purpose of this webinar today, or this masterclass, is to get you to be moving towards your growth zone. The other reason why people must set goals is because of time. Time, not time management. Time doesn't need managing. I always say that. So I believe that it's time utilization is the right word, because time manages itself. It has 24 hours and you don't have to tick it. Whether you have a clock or not, it keeps going. The sun rises and the sun sets. And you have morning, you have afternoon, you have evening. Time doesn't care and it won't need any managing. But it's about your utilization of it. Some will utilize to make a difference. Some will waste the time they have. If you have set goals, then you are able to define how you utilize the time to be able to achieve something of yourself. So if all this helps with your mindset to be able to move forward, that is the key. That is the first thing I want to leave with you. Understanding why you need to set goals is the key thing there. When you understand it, when you define it, you're able to look at your goals even more critically and say, do they align with these whys? aligning with these whys. They are helping me direct my life. They are helping me move to a growth zone. They are helping me utilize time. So the Aligned Business Blueprint Coaching Program is a program I designed for people aspiring entrepreneurs or new entrepreneurs. One, the key elements I'm going to talk to you about come from the third key, which is intention. There are 7 keys. There are 7 processes that I walk through with people who have a business and want to move from their idea to getting their first client, their first product, their first sale, creating a customer journey visibility. But the goal setting is a very important component, and goal achieving using my own systems, which I call AIMS, alongside SMART, explaining how SMART would work for you in a much better way, which is under the intention. So what do I cover as part of that? Here is an element of it, the 3 P's of goals to growth. How do you move from goals to growth? I have the 3 P's under the intention. Excuse me. You have the process, you have the progress, and you have the pillars. So we're going to explore all 3, and we're going to be looking at them in a bit more detail. So let's start with process. What processes do you need to follow to be able to make progress? That is an important question. Why? Because without a process to follow, you have no direction. It's like you have to create a map. Once you have an action plan, part of that action plan is a map. But there are key things that you need to recognize with process, where process is something that you have to have a mindset of, in terms of when you think about this example is used a lot. Everything in life has been set up as a system. You have, when you're born, you have to sit, then you crawl, then you walk. So when you think about it, when you're setting your goals, you're thinking, what's the process I have to devise? Not only do you have to devise it, you have to embrace it. We always say in the John Maxwell team, not only do you embrace it, you trust the process to deliver what you want it to deliver. And the outcome of trusting the process is that you're going to walk the process. The key word there, therefore, is consistency. You're going to be consistent in delivering the key components of that process to get you to the destination that you want to get to. First of all, you design the process and you work it. And what is the benefit of having a process? It allows you to devise a clear strategy. It gives you better clarity once you've thought it through. But also, it then allows you to have alignment to your why, to your purpose, to your potential. And alignment is important. I've heard a lot of people recently, more recently in many groups I've gone to, they've done all sorts of training, good idea training, and then come back and sit down. Yes, they set up a business and they thought, these are the things I need. They never took the time to look in the beginning. One of the key things I did in the beginning, and why I'm a DISC personality expert, is because I did my personality profile and I understood where my strengths would work better. I understood why my career in accounting or auditing wasn't a total complete fit. When people don't look at that and devise the right process, it can still be equivalent to setting up a business you hate just as much as you hate the 9-to-5 you left. So one of the reasons why, as well, is to remember that we are unable to predict the future. We don't have, but we predict the future by creating it. So you have a process of creating the future. That's what goal setting is about. Think about it. Creating the future by you predict the future by creating it. So I want to talk about 6 things very quickly when it comes to process. You first of all create something. You go through a process of creating it. The part that people hate and they need sometimes accountability and support for is to finish that creative process. They stay long with it without going to the next stage, which is the test. You test it. You test what you have created. Because without testing it, you have no clue whether it works or not. And when you test it, you have to be patient to go to the next phase, which is you learn from that test. What works, what doesn't work. If it works, perfect, it's repeatable. If it doesn't work, what can I change? And then you improve it if there is a room for improvement. And then you then deliver it, you implement it, and you repeat the process again as you go along through it. So you follow this process to be able to create something. Most people see a successful person today and they kind of yearn for the life that they have. Underneath it all, I was listening to a webinar recently and actually listening to a book by Maria Farlow, who created the word figuratable. And basically, she said it took her 7 good years to be able to leave her 9 to 5, to be able to fully commit to coaching. If you apply realism to your goals, it helps to keep and embrace and trust the process. They say that a champion is not created in the ring. It's actually created outside the ring. It's actually executing his championess in the ring, if there's any word like that. So that's the first P. That's what you need to be focused on, is that you need to create a process, you need to work the process, you need to trust the process to create the transformation that you want. So the second P is why we're here. You make progress, you move up, and progress has to do with having that belief and that self-belief that you can. One of the challenges with making progress that I have encountered with people is, and even now, I wrote a post today that talked about, why people give up and feel overwhelmed. They don't feel that it's worth investing. You have to have self-belief. You have to believe that you're worth the investment. In the early years of my life where I could have made a difference, I didn't believe that I was worth the investment because I didn't have the confidence and the self-esteem. If I had me, as I'm sitting down now, to talk to me about confidence, then I'll be able to know that I'm worth investing in because I will bring results. So progress comes first and foremost from addressing any self-limiting beliefs that are holding you back. And it's being able to create stretch environments for yourself. So if you're in a comfortable environment, and again, I've done a few posts leading up to this webinar about it. If you're in a comfortable environment and it's not an enabling environment, and you are around people that are not empowering you or challenging you or stretching you, then there is no way that you can move forward. To move forward and to make progress, you have to consider, what is the environment that I'm in? And we look at this very carefully as part of the Aligned Business Blueprint program. We look at what are the motivating factors. We identify them as part of the action plan. We identify your ideal growth environment, because once you can identify your ideal growth environment, progress is easy. It facilitates progress. But we also want to say that successful people always ask themselves key questions. They say the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Am I where I need to be? Why am I not where I need to be? How do I get to where I need to be? Who's going to help me with what I need to do to get there? It takes courage, it takes humility to be able to find support and help, but that accelerates your progress as well. And the truth about it is that the people that make more progress know that no man is an island. You can't do it on your own. You need support, you need investment, you need time. So all those things are the kind of mindset you need to be able to make progress. That's the second P to move from goals to growth. You're moving from a place of just having things on paper to understanding the implications of bringing them to life. The third P, nicely, is the pillars. And when we say pillars, we mean support. Out of all of these, we mean help, we mean advice, we mean guidance. In this day and age where you have so much information on Google, Google helps, Siri helps, but they don't support. They can probably provide advice because you have some advisories and things, although they ask you to take it with a pinch of salt, because I found out recently that some of the things we have, like BMI and all those things you have about weight and all those information that is out there, they always put it out for the typical person. And the typical person does not necessarily exist. So it's, it's difficult sometimes to put that. That's where you have people who are trained to provide the guidance that you need, the advice and the support. It makes a lot of difference. What do pillars do? They hold a house up. So in the Aligned Business Blueprint, I try to help people focus on, you need to create the pillars, you need to create the foundations. Once the foundations are solid, you can scale. But if you have a shoddy foundation, you have to go back and fix those foundations. People are in a hurry. They want to get to the end result very quickly. Not a problem if the foundations are right. You can scale, you've learned the habits, you put in place the things you need to put, and you don't have to go back and pay the expensive price of fixing it. So those are some of the key things. And the truth is, that is diving deep more into what support does. So when I provide service for people and I help people, what they get is an accelerated result as a result of working with me. Why are the results accelerated? We have what is called the learning curve. And the entrepreneurial learning curve is a steep curve indeed. A steep curve is not what you call, the steep curve is very quick and goes on a straight line, but that's not how the entrepreneurial learning curve is. It's actually more of an S curve, where you move from, you have the dips and you have the dips and the troughs, and you have the moving up and you have the going down. But what happens is, with support and with information and with some hand holding, you're able to accelerate your results and move along that S curve much quicker. And we talked about one of the key components of progress or of process is where you have self-belief. Now, sometimes people who I have worked with lack self-belief. Like I said, when I first started, I didn't have that self-belief. It took me having mentors, me having the coaching that I needed to be able to come to a place where I could see my potential, me doing some of the things I did with checking my profile and understanding what's going on. But it's because people believed in me, they provided me with the support. You can lean on your coaches' unconditional support and belief to be able to make your own belief. You can tap into the belief that they have for you. Accountability is something that helps with progression. Why? Because when you have somebody you're accountable to, you can create an action plan, and you have weekly check-ins and check-ups and feedback. And as it says here, accountability helps to turn pain into peace, because you know that you can persist, you can move past those blocks and move past being stuck into your empowerment and growth zone, because that's where you want to go. So you're here today, you're listening to me. I want to tell you a little bit about, in terms of progression, I come in the area of helping you with that pillar and that support. So here are some of my clients that I've worked with in the past, coming from a place of lacking progression for years, not very sure about coaching, not very sure about what it could do. Once I experienced the power, I actually search out people, invite them to workshops, free work. And my clients have come from there because they recognize the power of it. So we have Carolina, who is who started out not even being able to get on a train to go to different places, lacked the confidence, lacked the know-how, was firmly living in the fear and comfort zone, and I was able to work with her, provide the tools and strategies to build confidence first and foremost. Because most of us jump in and think, I want to build a business. But then we find that we sabotage ourselves because we have not worked on ourselves. So first and foremost, the work happened with her as an individual, and that led then to confidence. And through me being part of Jenny Star, I invited somebody to speak, and she was able to get there. She's now a team leader. Within a year, there was a complete turnaround from who she was working, and she was able to leave her job and move on and do this full time within a year. And that's what I mean by accelerated results. And then we have Yvonne, who took my program, the Aspiration to Transformation course. Her challenge was that she couldn't get past what she couldn't do. And she forgot to focus. Progress is about focusing on what you can do and being able to find what that is within your reality. As John Maxwell would say, it is a person who is successful is one who is not a captive of the reality in which he or she first finds himself. So basically, being a captive of her reality, having attended a few of my workshops, she took the plunge and was able to come on the program. And initially, that's where the idea element comes from. She had the idea that she wanted to work with women. By the time we did ideal client work and looked at unique selling propositions and strengths, she designed her package to work with young people, which is where her strength has always been. And straight away, the opportunities came, and she's now planning her workshop. She's also working in London with schools, and the opportunity straight away became clear. We then have Roxanne, who's done the Aligned Business Blueprint, and within a few months of doing that, moved from a person who felt hopeless and stuck and non-visible, now has presence on social media, and her statement is, "I burned the boat, I'll never go back." But more importantly, within the period that we've worked together, 3 months, she secured her first paid speaking engagement and first training opportunity to training sessions for people. She's now designing her customer journey to be able to get her coaching clients who will pay her as well as a resilience trainer and coach. We have Yetunde, who her journey is a bit different because she has not left employment, but she changed her career direction totally from the work we did as part of my mastermind, because she recognized through going through the process that she was having the wrong combination of work that was not allowing her to chase her entrepreneurial dreams. So again, she was able to make progress and move from very quickly to change jobs, do night work, do shorter jobs, but then start building her entrepreneurial dreams online and being able to operate online. Is having that courage to look at her personal circumstances and design that. So that is part of what you can get with the Aligned Business Blueprint program. Is the 7 keys, and it's about moving from the idea right down to being able to market, sell, and grow your business. So the outcomes that you get from this program, from this coaching program, is this: 3 months of support and accountability. And I'm talking about focused support and accountability. You're also able to set up and run your business in an aligned and structured way. And if you have already set up and you don't feel that it's right, for example, Roxanne has set up a website, she had done a few things, it just didn't align, it wasn't singing, she was stuck and she just left it. But has been able to make progression because of the clarity and now finding that alignment and who she definitely can serve, who her ideal client is. And so we develop systems to get clients and sales, which is what she can now do because she can see a clear pathway. The opportunity to start generating income as well is what you get. Then you stop going from starts and stops. You stop having maybe shiny object syndrome moving around because you have one point of focus and then you grow to your next level. That is some of the outcomes. There are more outcomes. Individuals have different outcomes, but these are key ones that you get. The ability to be able to move from zero to growth or to income very quickly. On a weekly basis, you have the different sections and you have what this program covers. Now, I have to say, when you hear about courses, you hear about programs. What's different about me is that I'm very hands-on. I don't take on large groups because there's a lot of energy to be able to focus on my groups and provide them with the hands-on support they need. And because I apply the coaching that comes from the looking at the personalities and everything, I specifically help people to shorten that learning curve and to do so without overwhelm and overspend. I help people to cut through where they have where I have spent more than necessary. They don't have to, because I can help them to find the shorter and quicker ways. And so the first week we look at the why and the business idea, define it, and we create what is called the solution mapping. So the solutions that you provide, and we look at the outcomes that and the transformation. Straight off the cuff, you are able to start designing the business in the first week, and you use the process to do that. And then the second week, we are looking at what is your personality, using that to inform your brand identity and who you serve and your unique selling proposition. The third week, we're able to look at the goal setting, some elements of what I've talked to you about. A bigger picture of it will emerge, where we'll look at the business model, we'll look at the strategy that you need to go through, and we'll look at what is it that you need to create to be able to start generating interest in yourself and so we look at the lead magnet that you need to create. What is that lead magnet, and what is a lead magnet, and what is that, how do you attract your ideal client? And the week 4, we look at the mindset element that holds many people back. That is part of the reason why people don't have progression. Even right now in 2020, if you want progression, a lot of mindset work. And we look at things like tapping into your intuition. I find that if we miss opportunities, strategy is a combination of intuition and, practicalities, calculations, and statistics and all of that. So is that some people miss out that element of intuition, and some people overuse intuition over and above. But this program helps you balance both, because you look at strategy and you look at intuition. You don't ignore either one. And then we look at integrity. A lot happens online that makes people not to feel authentic. So it's about building an aligned and authentic business that you feel that represents you at the very core. You don't have to compromise who you are. What's your brand promise? How do you set up structures to keep that promise? So we look at that as well. And in week 6 and 7, we look at the inspiration and impact. This is where we're looking at social media visibility, communication, the content, leadership. After all, I'm part of the John Maxwell team, and I believe that the leadership lead prevents people from moving to the level they need to get to. And that is what we're trained. So I help with the tools that you need and link this up with your personality profiling to help with things like communication, to help with your leadership skills. So the whole purpose of this program is to get you comfortably moving from any other zone into your growth zone. And that is where progress takes place. As you can see, the growth zone is where you find purpose, where you live your dreams, where you can set stretch goals. A rubber band, the law of the rubber band says that, the capacity is increased as you continue to apply pressure, and you are able to understand the level of pressure that you apply. That's what alignment is about. But the growth zone here is the zone where you are living life as you. You are not being a victim of life, but you're taking charge of life and making life work for you. But more and more, you are able to run your business on your own terms, in alignment. It's authentic to you. It's comfortable. You know who you serve, and you're able to serve them with passion. That's the whole purpose of the program. So what does it entail, you might ask, very quickly? So you get an initial strategy call so that I'll understand what you need to get out of the program and what your specific ways of thinking and working are, so that we'll be able to start looking at that even from the onset. You get group training calls, you get action sheets, You get 9 Q&A and hot seat calls where we'll spend time, having done the action sheets, you come around and we'll talk about where you're stuck, where you need to fix things, and how you need to move forward. I also said in the beginning, you will get the DISC personality profiling and you get action plan to work on. Then there will be a full implementation day where we'll come together and we'll actually bash out all the 7 sections and see that you have it all thinked. The idea is to create a map that you will use at the end of the program, a map that shows your progression, and a map that shows the next steps that you need to take to be able to get to completion. So whether or not you're still part of the program, you still be part of the Facebook group, which is also there. And I am not an expert 100% in everything. So within the group, you have training that will cover things like sales, marketing, and tech with people, contacts that I'll bring in either from the John Maxwell team or from my list of mentors and contacts to be able to provide that specific that helps people to get over and beyond what I will provide with my skills. And then you get some bonuses as well. The bonuses would include 30-minute check-in calls, which you can use during and after. We've got the Money Mindset webinar or training, because I think that that's an element I'm pulling out specifically. One of the key challenges I had is to be able to charge my worth, or to be able to know my worth and my value, and to understand a lot about money and the foundations that I need to lay about money. And obviously, with my accounting background as well, is how you set up the things that you need to set up for monitoring of your money. So we look at that, and you have the lifetime access. So being part of this webinar, you get the webinar investment, which is 1397, and there is a payment plan if you want to take that on board and look at it. It's about no more start and stops. It's about having a structured pathway to where you want to get to. It's about focus, no more running around, joining this group, joining that group. You are focused in one space and you are moving from point A to point B to point C till you get to the final outcome of developing your business and developing that income strategy and plan for yourself. So who is this for really? It's for aspiring entrepreneurs. ABB for short is what I call Aligned Business Blueprint. It's for aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners looking for coaching to build up their coaching, consulting, or service-based businesses. If you're a new business owner who feels stuck and cannot move forward with your business ideas to generate income and profit, then this is for you, because you might need to explore the combination of your ideas to be able to come up with a different combination. And then it's for value and purpose-driven individuals, because I believe that sometimes people have to understand what their value is, and your ambition is to create an aligned and authentic business. You know that you want things to fit. You don't want to now do the same thing you did with 9 to 5 and run out of it. You want it to fit. You are willing to invest that time to use your potential in the right way and do what fits with what you want to do and where you want to go. But you're willing to learn and implement strategies as well, build up the skills that you need, and understand that it takes time and it takes focus. We're going to use tools under intention. We're going to use tools under intuition to build your mindset. We're going to use tools under impact to create consistency so that you can stay focused and deliver the goods. And if you've tried on your own and you believe in the power of coaching and believe in investing in yourself, then I can feed off that positive energy, that great energy, and you can feed off my enthusiasm and unconditional support to achieve your goals. But who is this not for? Because I'm not for everybody. I can't work with everybody, and some people I'm not going to be a fit for, definitely, because my style might not fit with them. So that's the first thing. My style might not work for you. So this is not something you just jump and sign up. At the end, you can give me a call and discuss it further if you feel that you want to explore it. because it has to be a fit for you. But I don't do multi-level marketing because it's not on my skill zone. It's not my area of passion either. And I'm not, if a new business owner, if you're looking for quick fix, quick cash, flash it on Instagram kind of thing, not my style. I don't know how to do that. So I can't help with that. If you don't believe in coaching, belief drives behavior. You have to believe in it, trust the process, embrace the process. If you don't do any of those, then unfortunately, it will not work for you in terms of progress. If you're not interested in taking responsibility for growth and you are hoping, hope is not a strategy. Hope is necessary to be able to make progress, but it's not a strategy. You need action. And so if you're living on hope, I'm not the person to help with that. So someone who's not good at taking feedback and implementing actions. Again, this is what you get. The value of this is about thinking about how much more you will spend in terms of the time it takes to deliver it yourself, or in terms of the mistakes you make and fix, or in terms of not having anybody in your corner to be able to help you. So that's what you need to think about in terms of the value you're getting for the program, in terms of what it offers you, in terms of all the elements it covers, social media. I also cover under inspiration and impact, I cover networking, which I have successfully done to collaborate with people to get speaking engagements in Westmount Beach and all those kind of things. It's through networking, through communication. I've been able to speak on platforms on Facebook all across the world and be on on seminars that run across the world with big wigs and big people, partly because of networking. So it's how you connect with people. I teach that as well. So that's in a nutshell what these elements, these 3 P's of goals to growth have come out of. The whole reason for doing this is to make you move to your growth zone. If you are taking away anything today, think about the 3 P's. What are my 3 P's to move from goals to growth? How do I create a process that will work for me? Who's going to help me with that process? How do I ensure that I stay consistent? They say the secret to success is in your daily habits, what you do on a daily basis. That will lead to progress. Who is in my corner supporting me? Who is in my corner lending me their ideas and their guidance, their advice, or their know-how? That's the pillars. That's what you need to ask yourself. If you do these 3 things, I can guarantee you, I did it last year consistently, and I was able to get to the point of creating programs. As I speak to you, I've progressed my business to the next level where I'm working from individual now to corporate, and at the weekend, I shall be presenting to a corporate group of leaders of 20 to 30. But that's because I followed the process and worked the process to what's the first element, what's the next element, what do I need to do now? And I kept putting the pieces together and it kept moving on that direction. If you think that I'm that person to help you, by all means, give me a call. Here is the link that I need you to contact me to be able to speak to me. So I'm also on social media on all these platforms, making some changes to my Shine Collective, changing name and changing color. Men and women are welcome to Shine. So I'm changing that, but I'm on all social media platforms. So I'm excited to work with you in whatever capacity, whether in the group capacity or in the one-to-one. If you want to explore your options with me, then you can. So I want to stop sharing now. I can see that we have some people online here, and I thank you very much for taking the time. If you have any questions, I would like to field those questions and answer them. If you have any hot questions, remember that because you've been part of the webinar and you stayed, you're getting the Goal Achievement Action Plan. You can call me with regards to that as well, and we can talk about what you set for yourself there. That is useful as well. It's very useful. I find I've just done some work with somebody over the weekend, and it was brilliant, taking them through a process that helped them to gain clarity and they were actually about to do masters, which they are no longer going to do. That's a big thing. And it works. So I just wanted to, you know, if you have any burning questions, anything you want me to clarify, by all means, drop it in the chats and I will answer them. Any questions? Any questions? Any burning questions? Any questions from anybody? Okay, so question, what changes are you going to make? So what changes are you going to make based on this webinar or web class? Have you found it useful? Have you found it useful, this session? Have you taken, what are your takeaways? What are your key takeaways that you're going to use, you know, to make progress in 2020? If you can drop me one thing, whatever you remember, that would be great. Any takers on it? Any takers on what benefits, what takeaway, what difference you think? What one thing are you going to change from today as a result of this masterclass? Okay, the 3 Ps. Yes, I believe that is a way of structuring. If you're going to create your goals, think about which goal is going to, which action. So if you've written your goals, you now use that, and you say to yourself, what is going to help me to create a process here? Do I need a process to be able to achieve this goal? Do I need, what is going to help me progress in this area? Who do I need support with? So for each goal, and I will recommend that you use the goal achievement sheet, and then you use it, and then use the 3 Ps to be able to then devise your action plan. That's the idea. So yeah, that's brilliant. So thank you very much for taking the time and for staying to the end. I definitely will be in contact to tell you more about, you know, what you can do, how you can get in touch with me, how you can book a call. And by all means, when you get the action sheets, if you have any questions, drop me a line. So have a lovely evening and God bless you, and have a lovely rest of January. Wishing you great success. Take care. Thank you.